Hey, how's it going? Today I want to talk to you about sustainable food production, perennials, permaculture, whatever you may call it. Yeah, just growing food in a way that makes sense. So behind me I have some trees, peach, Asian pear trees and whatnot. So this peach tree I planted a few years ago. Where's the peaches at? There's some peaches around. It was a gift. Trees are a great thing to plant for sustainable food production, and I'll explain why. You plant a tree, you do nothing, and you come back 20 years and it's been producing food for the last 17, 18 years and you hadn't done a thing. So you want to find how nature works and mimic that and use that to your advantage rather than fighting nature, and trees just grow and that's great. So how did I plant this tree and why is it doing so well? It's doing a whole lot better than some trees that I planted with amendments. So amendments are different things you can put in the soil to quote unquote enhance the soil. With fruit trees, I have come to find that if you just simply plant them in the ground, they do the best. Some will mix compost with the native soil, this and that. I've had the most success just planting straight in the ground, because what happens when you put too much organic matter in the soil, especially if you don't till it in, if you just dig a hole and fill that with potting soil or compost or what have you, the roots get really spoiled. They're kind of like trust fund babies, and when it comes to going into the real world, which is the native soil around it, they get really spoiled, they don't want to get a job, and those roots just kind of turn around and the tree doesn't do a whole lot. It's not able to really grow because it's spoiled. So don't spoil your trees. Another thing, minimal pruning. So if you want to prune, that's fine. If you want to really take that much time and effort to prune regularly, once or twice a year, you can totally do that. But remember that if you commit to that, you must do it. You must stick to that regimen. And if you do not, the pruning you had done previously could be detrimental to the tree's health. You can have a lot of crowding and whatnot that the tree wouldn't have otherwise because you modified its natural structure. You want to look at trees in nature and understand they grow how they were intended to grow. They have spent eons of time perfecting their magnificent structure, and I think it's a little naive for us to say we know better. But do what you're going to do. That's just my perspective. We all have different perspectives. So what I want to tell you is you can plant a fruit tree. You can plant 1,000 fruit trees. Just try to make sure you don't have grass competing. So this is in a lawn. I have cardboard down there. I'm making a hedgerow. I'll be planting some berries and whatnot. But down here we have comfrey. So comfrey is an excellent plant. It's one of my favorites. I kind of chopped and dropped this. So I have the white flowered variety. There is the purple or red behind me. And first off, getting comfrey. If you ever see comfrey growing anywhere, side of the road, that's actually where I got a lot of mine. You want to take just a root division. So you can dig up a little piece of it and plant it and it will spread. And then you can continue spreading that small cluster all around your fruit trees. And your fruit trees will thank you. Just remember, this is a very hard plant to get rid of, so if you're planting it somewhere, expect it to be there for a long time. I would not advise you to plant it in annual garden beds. However, in the right area, it is the best thing in the world. It is also a medicinal called knitbone. It has a miraculous ability to heal cuts, scrapes, sprains, and broken bones. That's why it has that name. Beyond that, it is a biodynamic accumulator, meaning it draws different minerals and whatnot from deep in the soil where they would otherwise be lost and just leach down further and further. The fruit tree itself does not usually have roots that are able to do that. The roots of a tree are much shallower than the roots of comfrey. Comfrey has a very deep taproot and it mines these nutrients, bringing it to the surface. It creates a lot of biomass. Biomass is the material created by plants or trees. It is this green stuff or brown stuff. It's just the stuff that comes out of the soil and creates soil. So that's really important. It is also a beneficial insect attractor. So insects are really important. You don't just want to eliminate insects. You want to have a proper balance of insects. And the Comfrey is able to bring in, attract, and actually help beneficial insects breed. And those are predatory insects, ones that are able to, eat pests and whatnot, as well as pollinators and all just this wide array of allies that your fruit tree has are just being fed and housed underneath. So there's so much that's going on in Comfrey, and fruit trees are an amazing companion for that plant. So what I'm wanting you to get out of this video is fruit trees, or any type of tree in general, are a really sustainable food source. They don't need a whole lot. Just plant them in the ground, do it in the dormant season when you don't see any leafy green growth, perhaps between the fall and springtime, really early spring if you're getting towards spring. I would try to avoid the warm southern summer months, because the tree will have a difficult time adapting. It is growing, and beyond the tree growing, it has a really difficult time dealing with the warm weather and the dry weather. So when you plant it, make sure to water it well. Do not cover the base of the tree here. Oftentimes will be a graft or a graft union, and it is really important not to cover that for almost any tree. Figs and perhaps mulberries, not so important, and those you can also grow from cuttings. These other trees, not so much. You'll have a rootstock and scion wood, and the rootstock is responsible for the sturdiness of the tree and oftentimes the height of the tree. Every once in a while you'll have some sort of intermediate tissue in between to help control flowering, fruit production, size, stuff like that. But most common fruit trees that you'll find will have a rootstock and the actual fruiting variety of scion wood. So these fruit trees, man, they're great, and you need to plant them, trust me. I encourage you to do so if you have any bit of land. If you don't have land, talk someone into it. I've done that myself. Yeah, you can do a whole lot with fruit and nuts as well. So don't forget, Comfrey is your friend. Sometimes it's hard to find, it's hard to buy. It took me a while. I had to ask a neighbor to get it for the first time. But yeah, words and stuff. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this inspires you to grow something. Let's look at my trees real quick. Look at these peaches, only a couple years old. Some peaches, man. These get big and delicious. And a lot of people told me you can't grow peaches around here. I'm in the Seattle area in the suburbs, and on the other side of the state we have a different climate. It's a lot drier, and we grow peaches commercially there, but not too many people grow them over here, and I was told not to try, but they ripen up really well. So these are Asian pears. So good, man. I would recommend trying to grow those, and really disease resistant, a whole lot better than Bartlett's. Here's a red maxi pear. It's kind of another variety that I think is similar to an Asian pear. It looks kind of like a cross between some sort of like red Bartlett and Asian is what it looks like, but I have to do some more research. I don't know everything. Alright, let's check out my Comfrey though. Look at that massive Comfrey. There's bees flying around. I don't know if you can see them, so. Alright, try to be sustainable, man.